So what can you do if your spending power is getting cut? How can you prepare for this? Well, that was the question that I got just the other day, and I want to answer this question because I know a lot of people are going through this exact same thing. They're struggling to keep up with the rent, struggling to put food on the table, struggling to just make sure that their car does not get repossessed. These are all real problems from real people. And you may be going through this exact same situation. So, first off, let's explain why your spending power is getting reduced, why it's getting cut, what is happening. And then I'll explain what you can do to prepare for this and hopefully put yourself and your family or your household in a better situation. So, here's the first thing. One of the reasons why spending power is getting cut is because of credit card interest rates. As the Federal Reserve continues to raise rates, which we believe they will do it again, well, it means your monthly payment for this debt is going up. Here's the problem. The majority of people that have put money on a credit card have put money on this card, let's say not in the past couple days, they put it in the past couple years. So an item that they purchased, let's say in 2021, they're still continuing to make payments to try to pay that off. Well, this is why it's very concerning because rates have gone up so much in the past 2 years. And so now that little bit of debt that you had is just exploding. But as your credit card payments go up, your spending power across the board comes down. That is a major, major concern. Another reason why your spending power is getting cut is because of food and gas prices going up. As food goes up, it's very difficult for lower and middle income households to make ends meet. And I say this because food is one of the biggest expenses that people have. Food and gas are two expenses that most households cannot go without. They need these two to survive. One, we need food in order to survive. We have to eat. Right? And for the majority of people, we need gas to put into our cars so that we can get from point A to point B. From the house to take our kids to school. From the house to go to work. From work to go home. Go to the grocery store. And do it all over again. Now, it's not just going to a grocery store though. Because I've heard from a lot of people saying that they go to fast food restaurants. McDonald's is the cheapest. They cannot make a cheeseburger or a chicken sandwich as cheap as they can buy it from McDonald's, especially if McDonald's has that you buy two, you get the second for $1. Well, great deal, right? Let's talk about it. Because what restaurants are now saying, and these are fast food restaurants, they are now saying that they're struggling to increase prices even further because now customers are starting to complain. Yeah. So even though your pricing, your buying power has been cut, guess what? You now have pricing power. Restaurants don't, because now we are not going into McDonald's every single day to go and buy their chicken sandwich. We're just not doing it because now it's getting too expensive. And this just shows that these fast food restaurants and all companies have raised prices so much lately that now customers are starting to realize and they're not buying. They're not buying as much and they're not coming in as often. It's actually good news because that is going to bring prices back down. Now, let's talk about the big problem. And this has to do with your income. The big problem, according to financial experts, is your real wages. Now, what are real wages? Well, real wages are wages after you take into account inflation. So the average wage increase for 2023 right now is estimated between 4 and 5%. That's a decent increase. Well, that's a decent increase when we have inflation at 2%. So what should it be if inflation is currently at 5%? Well, according to reports, it should be much higher, but it's not. This is why Americans are getting killed because of inflation. And I use killed in obviously a different term. We are just struggling, but we are struggling mightily. Real wages haven't kept up with inflation. Again, inflation is currently 5%. But a year ago, it was 9.1%. It came down to in the 8s, to the 7s, to the 6s. It was 6% just last month, or 2 months ago, and then it was It turned to 5% just last month. In about a week and a half, we're going to have the new inflation report, and it's going to tell us, are we going to be now under? Are we going to see that our real wages are actually more because of what inflation is? As of right now, they're pretty much negative. And this is a major problem, especially when you factor in the increases of food, fuel, utilities, right? Rent and mortgages, credit card bills, and everything in between. It's getting to that point where many households just cannot afford it. Now, how do you prepare? How do you prepare for a time like this? How do you prepare for times where you don't see your income going up, or you see your expenses going up faster than your income? You go get another job. Do you just stop buying stuff? What do you do? Well, here's what experts say. Experts say the number one thing you can do is add another income source to make more money. That's it. Just add another income source. You work a full-time job, go and get a part-time one. Work 20 hours a week. You currently have a job? Okay, great. Can you work extra hours? Can you get a little bit of an increase? Can you start a side hustle? All these things are quite possible. You just have to do it. Other people say the best thing you can do is to cut back on your expenses and definitely eliminate monthly costs. So if you cut back on your expenses, this could mean things like, okay, I'm not going to go to a tanning salon this month or this week, right? I'm not going to go and join a gym because a gym is a monthly membership. I'm going to eliminate that. I'm going to eliminate my Hulu account. I just don't need it, right? I don't need those. I have an app on my phone that costs me $4.99 a month. Maybe it's a budgeting app. It's like, I just don't use it, so I'm going to delete that as well. Get rid of it. These are little changes that you can make that will improve your finances so that you could afford to go to a fast food restaurant. You could afford to not cut back on all your expenses, right? This will improve your situation and give you more spending power. Another financial expert says to reduce spending in high output categories. These are things like shelter. Do you need a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment? Could you just be perfectly fine in a 1 or 2 bedroom? If you could, and it's going to save you $400 or $500 a month, is it worth it? What about transportation? Do you need to drive that Lamborghini to and from work that gets 10 miles to the gallon? Maybe not. Maybe instead of the Lamborghini, you downsize and you get something like a Range Rover, right? Or, let's be a little more realistic, maybe you don't get the Range Rover. Instead, you drive around in the Honda, the Toyota, right? The Ford, right? The Dodge, whatever, right? A little Nissan. Something that's more fuel efficient, that insurance is not as expensive, the car is not expensive, and it doesn't require a lot of maintenance. Because again, a Lamborghini is going to cost you a lot of money. You want to place your transmission? I believe they're about $30,000, right? You want to fill it up? Well, you're going to need premium fuel, and you probably get between 10 and 13 gallons or 13 miles per gallon. Not the best, right? So spend less in those high output categories, even food. You go shop at Whole Foods, maybe consider shopping at the dollar store, Walmart, Target, right? Safeway, Albertsons, Kroger, Fred Meyer, doesn't matter what it is. Go somewhere that's less expensive. You don't need to go to Whole Foods, right? Bring your costs down, use coupons, buy stuff that's on sale. That's what experts are recommending. So, if you want to make sure that your spending power does not get reduced even further, make sure you prepare, make some of these changes because, again, they're going to help you out in the future.